Viewer discretion is strongly advised. The following is for educational and entertainment purposes only. The courtroom air hung heavy, thick with electric anticipation. Reporters, stripped of their phones and cameras, clutched notepads, murmuring celebrity names they desperately hoped would materialize. But no one, not a single soul in that packed gallery, could have possibly foreseen the bombshell witness who strode through the back doors. There was no grand announcement, no accompanying entourage, just a man in a sharp black suit, his expression etched with grim resolve. It was DaBaby. An immediate, profound hush descended. So quiet you could almost hear the rapid thump of heartbeats. Everyone sensed this wasn't mere procedure, it was a rupture in the expected narrative. Diddy, initially radiating smug confidence, visibly recoiled, his composure shattering as murmurs rippled through the gallery. His defense attorneys leaned in, faces taut, while the prosecution straightened, a glint of triumph in their eyes. Even the judge paused, consulting her notes, then fixed her gaze directly on DaBaby, as if to confirm this wasn't some outrageous charade. DaBaby ascended the witness stand with an unnerving calm, his eyes unwavering. He was sworn in, and then came the moment that would send seismic shockwaves throughout the entire industry. The prosecutor posed the standard question, "Do you have any knowledge relevant to the actions of Mr. Sean Combs?" He didn't nod. He didn't simply say yes. Instead, he leaned forward, his voice a razor's edge cutting through the silence, and uttered a single, explosive name: Beyoncé. The room detonated into a deafening stillness. Pens clattered to the floor. Reporters exchanged incredulous glances. Even the judge leaned back, almost imperceptibly, because it wasn't just a random name. It was that name, Beyoncé. The Queen, the unassailable icon. The one person everyone believed was utterly removed from the swirling darkness surrounding Diddy. "I have footage," DaBaby declared, his voice flat, "and it changes everything." The prosecution nearly sprang to their feet. The defense lawyers scrambled, their whispers laced with desperation. Diddy was no longer lounging. He was gripping the edge of the table, staring fixedly ahead like a man who just witnessed a specter. But DaBaby wasn't done. He met the jury's gaze, his tone steady and unwavering. Everyone keeps asking who Diddy had control over. But maybe the real question is who gave him that control to begin with. In that electric moment, the case transcended secret parties or breached contracts. It became about power. Raw, unbridled power. And what unfolds when someone like Diddy believes themselves above every rule, even while standing shoulder to shoulder with the most powerful woman in music. Beyoncé's name had irrevocably entered the court record, and it was poised to redefine everything. Following that earth-shattering courtroom revelation, DaBaby's sworn mention of Beyoncé, the prosecution closed in, the tension now nuclear. The lead prosecutor took a long, deliberate pause, adjusted their jacket, and then delivered the most obvious, yet agonizing question. "Mr. Kirk, are you saying that Beyoncé Knowles Carter is somehow involved in this case?" DaBaby didn't even blink. "No," he calmly replied. "I'm saying she was close enough to Diddy for people to stop asking who he controlled and start asking who let him get that close." The entire courtroom recoiled, not in disbelief but in a strange, stunned recognition, because DaBaby wasn't leveling a criminal accusation against Beyoncé. He was exposing a system, a silent pact, a culture of untouchable power where even the world's most celebrated figures had to navigate a perilous tightrope between access and submission. He continued, his voice unwavering. "I witnessed something at the 2015 Hip Hop Awards. I wasn't meant to see it. No one was. They ensured the hallway was cleared, the cameras powered down, but I was on my way to a last-minute performance rehearsal." The courtroom leaned in, utterly captivated. I passed by a small corridor near the backstage VIP lounge. That's when I saw Beyoncé and Diddy. A pin could have dropped and echoed. Diddy was now visibly glistening with sweat. They weren't just talking. DaBaby revealed they were close. Not sexually, But it wasn't business either. It was the way Diddy touched her arm, how she leaned in, how their people were conspicuously absent, as if it were all pre-arranged. The judge pressed him for physical evidence. Yes, DaBaby affirmed. A video. A brief clip I later acquired through a security guy I knew. The same guy who lost his job 2 weeks after the awards and warned me, "Some things you just don't film." He then detailed the clip, no audio, just raw body language. Diddy's hand resting on Beyoncé's lower back, whispering something. She smiled. Not her public stage smile, but something more relaxed, more personal. As someone else rounded the corner, they subtly distanced themselves. Business mode resumed. But not before the camera captured those fleeting 2 minutes. Then came the quote that caused jaws to drop. That clip doesn't prove anything criminal, but it proves one thing. Diddy thought she was his. Perhaps not in the way tabloids would sensationalize it, but in the way predators perceive ownership over everyone in their orbit. The jury sat impassive, yet the press corps was already buzzing. What DaBaby had revealed was more than mere gossip. It wasn't about scandal. It was about access, proximity, and how Diddy, beneath his veneer of charm and champagne-fueled charisma, had always wielded access as power. And DaBaby wasn't finished. Not even close. You want to know how I knew that moment truly mattered? He challenged the court. Because immediately after that awards show, Jay-Z fundamentally altered everything that drew attention. The courtroom, still grappling with the Beyoncé bombshell, now braced for another revelation. There's unseen dynamics, moves behind the curtains, that y'all simply didn't witness. DaBaby declared with conviction. Do you truly believe these figures merely drift apart due to scheduling conflicts? He then unveiled a distinct pattern. After 2015, Diddy's presence at Roc Nation brunches vanished. Collaborative projects between the two moguls silently dissolved. Events where they once shared the spotlight, like the Met Gala or major streaming rollouts, no longer featured them side by side. Jay-Z, DaBaby alleged, saw the footage. Perhaps not the exact copy DaBaby possessed, but certainly a version of it. Industry whispers suggested Jay saw a clip and, true to his style, didn't react publicly. That's not how he operates, DaBaby explained. Instead, he began cutting Diddy off, quietly, efficiently. And this, DaBaby argued, was the true decay festering within the empire. Jay knew something. Maybe not enough to publicly confront Beyoncé. Perhaps not enough to risk shattering a brand. But enough to grasp that the man he'd once called a peer, even a friend, had crossed an unforgivable line that extended far beyond business. Then came the chilling, whispered accusation. What if Beyoncé was never complicit? What if she was cornered? What if she told Jay what truly transpired and his silence wasn't betrayal, but protection? The court reporter momentarily ceased typing, unable to keep pace with the unfolding narrative. DaBaby pressed further. After that year, Beyoncé began to lock down even tighter. Have you ever noticed how no one touches her in public anymore? How her team moves with the precision of the Secret Service? That wasn't merely about maintaining mystique. That was because something got too close. With that, he delivered one final, haunting line before the court recessed. If Diddy had a moment with Beyoncé, even just once, then no one in this industry was ever safe. It wasn't just a testimony. It was a searing indictment of the entire system, the unspoken pacts, the manipulative maneuvers, and the unwritten rule that even royalty can be vulnerable when predators disguise themselves as kings. When court reconvened, DaBaby didn't just return to the witness stand. He commanded it. He brought no theatrics, only irrefutable evidence. The prosecutor nodded, then addressed the judge. Would like the witness to describe the media file in question. DaBaby fixed his gaze on the jury. I didn't steal it. I didn't leak it. I saw it. That's all. And what I saw is something you need to hear about because it reveals everything about how this man, he said, gesturing towards Diddy, exploited moments, authentic moments, as leverage. He then painted a vivid picture of the clip. It wasn't grainy. It wasn't accidental. It was filmed on a backstage camera during a Beyoncé event in 2015. DaBaby stated that Beyoncé appeared relaxed, as if she were finally off duty, not performing. And then, Diddy entered. According to him, they exchanged no words in the clip. But what transpired instead, DaBaby dubbed a masterclass in psychological dominance. Diddy, he elaborated, approached slowly, unhurried, unexcited, as if he inherently belonged there. His hand casually went to her waist. She didn't flinch. She looked down, then up and smiled. Then he whispered something, and she laughed. It was brief. DaBaby stressed, but it was everything. He asserted that clip alone, if it ever surfaces, would ignite the internet, not for what happened, but for its profound implication. He then unveiled something previously undisclosed. There was allegedly another file, not just a video, but a screenshot compilation photos from private events, award show after-parties, and one photograph that DaBaby claimed depicts Diddy kissing Beyoncé on the cheek, his hand on her shoulder, with Jay-Z standing 10 feet away, observing. The prosecutor inquired how he obtained the files. DaBaby hesitated. I can't reveal names, but there's a network of individuals utterly fed up with what this industry conceals. Someone entrusted me with it. Perhaps because I've navigated both sides. I've witnessed the devastating cost of silence. The judge instructed the jury to disregard the photos unless officially submitted as evidence. But the impact had already landed. The narrative was now irrevocably tainted, or depending on one's perspective, finally unmasked. DaBaby leaned into the microphone. You still believe this is merely about parties and music videos? No. This is about how Diddy collected people like trophies. And if Beyoncé was ever one of those trophies, even for a fleeting second, then what genuine chance did the rest of us ever truly have? The subsequent phase of DaBaby's testimony didn't merely point fingers, it implicated the entire machinery. He began slowly. Do you honestly think someone like Beyoncé walks into a room unescorted? No. Every single second of her life is meticulously scheduled, rigorously guarded, precisely scripted. Yet Diddy found a way to get close. Not once, but multiple times. That doesn't happen without people turning a blind eye. He explained that the entertainment industry thrives not on talent, but on access. You covet the job, the headline, the exclusive invite. Then you'd better play the game. And the game dictates, don't ask questions when certain names surface. DaBaby recounted a moment in 2016 when he attended an exclusive after-party at a private estate in the Hollywood Hills. He claimed Beyoncé arrived late. Everyone else had their security detail around them. She entered with 2 guards, both of whom remained at the door. Diddy, he stated, was already seated in a roped-off area. Within 10 minutes, Beyoncé joined him. I didn't witness anything overtly dramatic, but I saw a change. The room shifted. Whispers began. One guy next to me muttered, "They still have that thing, huh?" I asked, "What thing?" He said, "Diddy and Bey. That goes way back." The prosecution asked if DaBaby believed Beyoncé was under Diddy's direct control. No, he countered. I believe she was under pressure. The kind that arises when someone like Diddy holds information over you. Perhaps stories, perhaps footage, perhaps nothing tangible. But when a man like that convinces people he's untouchable, he becomes a ghost. You can't stop him. He then condemned what he described as the impenetrable wall of silence surrounding Beyoncé. Her team wields power, more than most governments. They kill stories before they even begin. I know a journalist who was blacklisted from the music press simply for pitching an article about Bey's early career connections to Diddy. That pitch never even left the inbox. But his most damning assertion involved a meeting. DaBaby claimed that in late 2017, an emergency PR session was convened to contain rumors that a compromising video involving Diddy and Beyoncé was circulating within industry circles. I wasn't in the meeting, but someone who was told me their exact words, "We don't discuss this again ever." The court gasped. DaBaby surveyed the gallery. You believe silence is safety. But in this world, silence is a leash, and Diddy held many of them. Then came the elephant in the courtroom, Jay-Z. DaBaby exhaled. I respect Jay, always have. But you can't tell this story without addressing what he failed to do. He detailed a distinct shift in Jay-Z's behavior towards Diddy after the 2015 BET Awards. Their public appearances together ceased. Collaborative projects withered. And Beyoncé, she began operating with an even more intense level of control. Schedules were locked down, movements mapped minute by minute. It wasn't just managing fame, it was managing immense risk. The court leaned forward as DaBaby delivered the next hammer blow. Jay-Z knew about the footage, and not just from whispers. I know someone who works in his digital team. That clip, it passed through their hands. He explained that in 2016, the video surfaced on an encrypted server utilized by entertainment fixers. It was flagged not for release, but for immediate containment. They moved with lightning speed. Within 24 hours, that server was wiped clean. But Jay saw it, or at least someone on his behalf did. Then came the profound revelation: the Lemonade album. Y'all think it was just about cheating. Perhaps some of it was, but insiders say it contained layered messages between Jay and Bey. A warning, a reckoning, and at its core, a man who believed he could touch anything and never face the consequences. He concluded the session with a quiet, yet utterly chilling statement. Jay didn't confront Diddy because he couldn't. He built his empire with the very same silence he now needed to protect it. And that's the true essence of this case. Not just what Diddy did, but what the industry allowed him to do. With that, DaBaby closed the chapter on his day's testimony, but simultaneously flung open a dozen new ones in a narrative that now left the jury, the public, and the entire world questioning the true depths of manipulation. As the footage, allegedly described by DaBaby, cast its long shadow over the courtroom, its ripples began to extend far beyond the trial's confines. The tightly maintained media silence had been irrevocably shattered, but what followed wasn't a tabloid frenzy, it was panic control. Not from Diddy, already mired in scandal, but from those entrenched within Beyoncé's inner circle. Her team, typically an impenetrable fortress of steel, tight precision, was suddenly off balance. Behind closed doors, PR strategists convened late-night calls. Phone lines buzzed frantically across Roc Nation, Parkwood Entertainment, and numerous legal camps. Whispers escalated into blaring fire alarms. What precisely is in the footage? How damaging is it? Was she coerced, or was there complicity? No one outside the courtroom had witnessed the clip. Yet DaBaby's raw, verbal description alone was enough to trigger a full-scale alert in every opulent office, suit stretching from Beverly Hills to Manhattan. It wasn't simply the notion that Beyoncé might have shared a moment with Diddy. It was DaBaby's chilling depiction, not romantic, not outright scandalous, but rather familiar, intimate, possessive. And that, unsettlingly, was far more dangerous than any fleeting kiss or flirtation. Because if Diddy truly believed she was under his sway, even emotionally, then every single decision Beyoncé made during that period, from global tours to groundbreaking deals to collaborations, would now be subjected to intense scrutiny. Some media outlets cautiously began running speculative think pieces, veiled and discreet, citing anonymous insiders. Others remained ominously silent, awaiting official footage, paralyzed by the fear of burning essential bridges. But on the ground, industry executives whispered what no one dared utter aloud. If Beyoncé could be dragged into this, everyone was vulnerable. And Jay-Z, he hadn't uttered a single public word since DaBaby's testimony. Yet internal leaks from the Carter camp revealed the almost unthinkable. He might have known all along. That for years, Jay had been orchestrating an unspoken truce, not just with Diddy, but with the raw, uncomfortable truth itself. To shield his empire, to protect his wife, to hold the line. Now that carefully constructed wall was cracking apart. What further shocked the courtroom wasn't merely the content of the alleged footage, It was DaBaby's method of acquisition. Under cross-examination, he didn't waver. "I didn't steal it," he asserted. "It was given to me by someone inside." He claimed a former high-ranking bad boy employee, now estranged from Diddy's orbit, had sent him the files as a form of insurance. A truth deposit, they had called it. A small, unlabeled hard drive containing only timestamps. Private moments captured by discreet security cameras, backstage recorders, and party videographers. Footage that had never been permitted past the edit room. DaBaby steadfastly refused to identify his source, but claimed the individual genuinely feared for their life. They didn't seek to be silenced. They simply desired for the world to grasp the truth of what they had witnessed. And what they had witnessed, a meticulously compiled collection of micro moments. Diddy brushing past Beyoncé at an after-party, his presence lingering too long. A quiet whisper in her ear at a yacht event. A casual touch on her waist in a BT backstage corridor. Not enough for screaming headlines, perhaps, but certainly enough to rewrite an entire narrative. Enough to definitively suggest something transpired, something profoundly unscripted. Legal analysts within the courtroom observed that the defense team didn't outright deny the existence of the footage. Instead, they focused on discrediting DaBaby. "He's just a rapper," one lawyer hissed. "He's fabricating this for attention." But the damage was already done. The jury had absorbed too much. And even without the footage being played, its immense weight permeated the room. Beyoncé's silence became deafening. Diddy's lawyer adamantly refused to address press inquiries. Jay-Z's social media accounts went dark. This wasn't merely about what was captured on tape. It was about the colossal machinery constructed to ensure it was never seen. By the end of the week, the media could no longer contain the story. DaBaby names Beyoncé and Diddy scandal trended worldwide. News anchors stumbled over their disclaimers. Twitter erupted into a digital inferno. And for the very first time, Beyoncé's team released a statement. Brief. Clinical. Beyoncé knows Carter has never been the subject of any criminal investigation. We will not dignify irresponsible courtroom speculation. But the damage had already been inflicted. Fan pages splintered. Some fervently rallied to her defense, condemning DaBaby as a clout chaser. Others began to question everything: her past affiliations, her conspicuous silence during pivotal moments, even the entire Lemonade era. Was it purely personal, or was it a strategic shield? Meanwhile, inside the court, DaBaby delivered one final, chilling sentence before stepping down. "If you think this stops with me, you're not paying attention. I'm just the first domino because now subpoenas are reportedly circling others, producers, dancers, security guards, even stylists. People who might have seen things they were paid not to. The footage is no longer just a clip. It's evidence. It's leverage. It's the wedge that may finally shatter one of the most meticulously managed celebrity machines in history." As court adjourned, reporters sprinted to update their headlines. Jury members whispered amongst themselves. Diddy slumped, visibly shaken. Beyoncé's name had been spoken in court, and no amount of press control could ever undo it. The trial was no longer solely about Diddy. It was about influence, about loyalty, and about what happens when even a queen's meticulously crafted image begins to crack. Because if DaBaby's testimony proves true, then everything the public believed was real was, in fact, carefully manufactured. And now, it's unraveling.